We're in Spain.
Spain.
Spain. It's our 13th stop.
13th. Unlucky for some. Spain.
Lucky for others.
Yes.
Do you want to know facts about Spain before we dive into games?
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Speaking of luck, it's traditional in Spain to eat 12 grapes for good luck. Do you know that?
Well, just at any moment. Boost your luck.
I think they
like
do it
RPG
at
stat style.
I think so, yeah. But I think they also do it at New Year.
Okay.
So yeah, eat 12 grapes. Jesus Christ. You can tell it's past my bedtime.
Yeah, go to sleep. Come on.
Eat 12 grapes for good luck, unless you're a dog, where if you eat 12 grapes, you would not have good luck.
You'd be dead.
Very, very bad sick.
Yeah.
Spain produces 40% of the world's olive oil. The stapler was invented in Spain as a commission for France's King Louis XV, and every single staple made was engraved with his emblem.
Really?
Yep, apparently.
Pretty cool.
More, obviously. Yeah. Despite being in the same time zone as the UK, Spain uses Central European time because during World War II, Spain's dictator aligned their clocks to Germany and no one's ever changed it back.
Did not know that.
Yeah, there you go. And of course, it can only be known as Spanish flu if it is an outbreak of the influenza virus in the country of Spain. Otherwise, it should technically be known as the Great Sparkling Sniffles.
We've all had those.
Oh, yeah. Right up your nose. What of games, Chris? What of Spanish games? Surely some great Spanish games.
There's bloody loads of games come from Spain. Not as many loads as France, but it's getting up there. It's a big old list. My choice for what to play from the country this month yo-yoed all over the place. And so for something a little bit different, I've structured this chunk of the show not around size and scale of development studios or even a chronology like I've sometimes done in the past, but I've broken it down into little sections of what stood out to me personally, what I considered playing, and then what I didn't play. So it means it might be a bit less all-encompassing than I normally try and go for, but it might also be more exciting and fulfilling since it's driven more by my own passions and whims. Either way, if you like it, if you hate it, you can let us know, can't you, via social media or Discord. And, it's in the show notes. It's on the website at O3C Games. Everywhere, isn't it? Anyway, at the tail end of last month's episode, you mentioned in passing that I should try and play the Commandos games.
Yes.
Top-down, character-driven strategy games from Pyro Studios in Madrid. Indeed, in a bolt of almost divine or celestial overlap and convergence, Humble put out a strategy bundle just a few days after we recorded that included all of the Commandos games on Steam. But I just couldn't get the oomph to try this one because my only experience of the series in my whole life really was Commandos 2. I had a PlayStation 2 port of that game that I bought many moons back, and alongside Hitman 2, that was about the same era, found it almost impossible to understand. I just could not get my head around what I was supposed to be doing. It felt just too tough for my little child brain. Pendulo Studios are Madridian neighbours of Pyro, and they've had a gradually growing career making modern-style point-and-click adventure games with the Runaway series in the 2000s, and then with a series of licensed tie-ins in the 2010s and beyond, with Black Sad Under the Skin, which is a point-and-click game based on a Spanish anthropomorphic animal noir detective graphic novel series. They made the strangely anachronistic Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo game that came out a couple of years ago. They also made the most recent Tintin, Cigars of the Pharaoh game. And seeing as through bundles, I own the majority of Pendulo's output on Steam, of course, I thought their back catalogue might be worth mining, but it was the time investment that put me off here because I could cover the first hour or two of an adventure game, sure, and I could talk about the setting or the interface, whatever, but I wasn't sure how well I could really speak to any of these without dedicating a proper window to them to really get into the writing and logic and kind of what drives them to be modern adventure games. How well do they serve the source material, stuff like that. Much more in my wheelhouse. Arcade developer Galeco are based in Barcelona and through the 90s produced a whole swathe of pretty amazing over-the-top action games such as Thunderhoop and its sequel, Alligator Hunt, Biomechanical Toy, the isometric World Rally series, and Big Karnak. Fortuitously, all of these and more are collected across two beautiful curated Evercade cartridges, but my stumbling block here was that by their nature, arcade games can be too singular when viewed solo, which would have meant I might not have had much to say save playing and reviewing basically all of them, which again would have required maybe more time than I would have had this month. So needless to say, from what I have played and dabbled with in the past, Galeco are cool. The 2 Evercade sets are cool. Almost every game the team put their hand to is at least interesting if you're into over-the-top arcade experiences. So maybe in the future I'll come back to it. A quick nod to some other games I considered. Rhyme or The Sexy Brutale, both by Tequila Works, both in my burgeoning Switch collection, both remaining sealed on this occasion. A wide range of games by Milkstone Studios like Farm Together, which I've talked about before, and Little Racers. Again, I brought these to the show previously, so I felt they didn't really need the proverbial column inches again. I even could have talked about Samus Returns or Metroid Dread, both games that you loved, because they're by Mercury Steam, a Spanish developer. You know, the Metroid series I barely touched outside of playing and loving Zero Mission on the GBA, but not today. So, where did I end up?
Blasphemous.
Is that Spanish as well?
Yeah.
I thought you were just saying me not playing Metroid was blasphemous.
Oh, also that, yeah. Also that.
But no, I ended up...
Blasphemous too.
Yeah. Hey! God, you're on fire. Anyway, where did I end up? I ended up with...
Eterna Noctis.
No, of course not. Of course not. I ended up with Kramer Games, who are responsible for the surprisingly good Immortal Redneck FPS that smashes the over-the-top gameplay of something like Serious Sam with roguelike elements. But more notably, they also make Temtem, an online-enabled Pokemon homage that riffs on Game Freak's IP so blatantly that I'm shocked Nintendo bothered pursuing Pal World at all. because Temtem was right there. Like, I can only assume it's because Pal World's developer is in Japan and national law is much easier to enforce than international, with Kramer being in Spain. Now, before we talk about my time with Temtem, a game in a genre that I've barely engaged with at all since Pokemon Red was my all-consuming obsession, aged 11,